Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odesa. Our last briefing for today is dedicated to support for internally displaced persons in the Odesa region. Tetyana Dementieva, Director of the Department of Social and Family Policy of the Odesa Regional Military Administration, will share details. The floor is yours. Good afternoon. Thank you. The armed aggression against Ukraine that started in 2014 and then the full-scale invasion caused significant displacements of people to different regions of Ukraine, including Odesa region. There is the single database of internally displaced persons where more than 226,000 have been registered. From the beginning of the full-scale invasion, almost 186,000 people have been registered as IDP persons. We continue supporting IDPs together with NGOs and international organizations. As part of the emergency evacuation from the Kherson region, more than 3,000 people have arrived in the Odesa region. Around 500 people were accommodated in compact centers, and other people went to other cities of Ukraine or abroad. Almost 115,000 IDPs receive living allowance. Last time I told that the government changed the procedure for providing assistance to IDPs, and I would like to focus on this issue once more. Starting from the 1st of August this year, the persons are entitled to financial support if they left the houses according to the first article of the Law on Rights and Freedoms of Internally Displaced Persons and moved from the territories in which there are hostilities, and the list of such territories is endorsed by the Ministry of Reintegration. And also the territories where there are destructions because of the hostilities, and such people are entitled to support. As for the main changes in the order of payments, focus on rendering support to the most unprotected citizens and families that are in trouble. The changes include that the payments will be done in 2 periods, on the 15th and the 28th of each month. And instead of 3 periods that we had before, the amount of money is unchanged. This is 2,000 hryvnias for one adult of among IDPs, and 3,000 for every child and persons with disabilities if they are displaced. Since the 1st of August, such assistance will be assigned internally displaced persons which moved or moved again from the territories included in the list, territories in which with hostilities. And the list is endorsed by the Ministry of Reintegration, and also the peoples whose dwelling has been destroyed or is unsuitable for living, and if it is registered in the State Register of Property. The support will not be provided to internally displaced persons if they made a purchase for the amount exceeding 100,000 hryvnias. Transport means land plots, apartments, or if this person has more than 100,000 hryvnias on deposit bank, or purchased in cashless and or cash form foreign currency, owns residential premises located in the territories not in where there's no hostilities, and where the territories which have not been temporarily occupied. And also, if a person was supported by the state and has moved to such facilities as orphanages and boarding house, etc., this case will not be entitled to receiving support from the state. And also, if they stay in prison, or if people stay abroad for more than 30 calendar days, and there are no preconditions that I explained last time. So if the person is on a business trip for more than 30 days, then it will not be excluded from payments, and as well as those people who went abroad for rehabilitation. These people will not be included from the list of those entitled to get support. If the living conditions and change for IDPs, affecting the obtaining of payment, they have to inform about these the social protection bodies during 14 calendar days, as well as the authorized person of the executive body of the village settlement city council or the center of providing administrative services. From the 1st of November 2023, the housing allowance will be allocated among people capable of working unemployed persons. If average monthly cumulative income per recipient does not exceed 4 times livelihood minimum for persons who lost working capacity, persons which take care of children until they reach the age of 6 age, citizens who have 3 or more children under the age of 18 and who take care of them, persons with disabilities, people taking care of persons 80 plus, people with disabilities of the first and second groups, with mental disorders, as well as students on a full-time or dual form of education in general institutions, secondary, professional, vocational, or technical, professional, higher education that have not been registered in dormitories, as well as persons who during the first 6 months of receiving such help contributed to their economic independence. And also, if a person or recipients that lost working capacity, including for those who have reached pension age and receive pension, amount of which does not exceed 3 livelihood minimum for persons who lost their working capacity. Authorized person or receiver carries responsibility for providing authentic information when applying to receive aid. This information is verified by the Ministry of Social Policy and Ministry of Finances of Ukraine, and following such verification, the information is provided further on, and there can be made decision to stop provision of such aid of such people. Those people who received support before the 1st of August will receive this in the future during next month, but there are the cases of termination of payments. Why is it so? This is for people who stay abroad longer than 30 days without some reasonable grounds. Deceased persons and duplicates, those people who received such payments in one town or city with different social protection bodies or in 2 and more regions. I would like to recommend to those people whose payments have been terminated, but there have been no changes in their lives, to refer to social protection bodies, executive bodies of the village and city councils, to get information about the reasons of termination, and also to our department, the Department of Social and Family Policy of the State Regional Administration. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you very much for this report. Are there any questions from our journalists? I have no, and I have not received any questions from our journalists watching us online. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you. There is a question. Sorry.
Ask into the mic for us to get the question into live. But can you please sit down? Sure. Thanks. Katie, do you have the mic turned on, or is it? Yeah.
About now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. First question, so the payments you mentioned that have started on August...
Katie, I'm sorry, у вас переклад в навушнику. I'm just saying that we have simultaneous translation.
Yeah.
Якщо можна так.
So about the payments that started on August 1st, how long do they go on before the people have to apply again?
The payment is provided to those who applied before the 1st of August, and it will be prolonged for 6 more months, and then it will be prolonged further, taking into consideration the conditions of people, meaning IDPs. From the 1st of August, those who apply for the first time, they will just apply basing on the new regulation and the changes that have taken place already. And also, there are the conditions when these people will be refused from getting such payments. The first reason why these people can be refused is even if they have more than 100,000 hryvnias on their deposit account, if they bought something like a vehicle, a land plot, a house, an apartment for more than 100,000 people, or if they have property amounting to 100,000 hryvnias plus on the controlled territories, or if they moved to a public institution when they are fully supported, or if they are imprisoned, or if they left abroad. And I've also mentioned the verification, which is conducted by the Ministry of Finance together with the Ministry of Social Policy, and the information that has been obtained by the social protection bodies. And the first verification was conducted before the 15th of July, and this information was submitted to the relevant bodies for them to be able to inform people about termination of such payments.
6 months, people need to reapply or recertify themselves.
Перші
First 6th month, then they are prolonged for 6 more months, and that's it.
A lot of problems with people submitting more than one request, or if people that don't qualify that are trying to take funds?
The thing is that the new changes will apply since the 1st of August. That's why there will be a new 6-month period. It has only started on the 1st of August. Those people who applied before, there was no period like 6 months or 12 months of getting such payment. That's why they could receive that payment without additional application, and we now automatically prolong such payments only for those people who received these payments before the 1st of August this year.
And these changes were put into place because there were problems with the former system?
Generally, yes. And of course, we understand that people who do not reside on the territory of Ukraine, they are not IDPs. This is the first and the most important issue in this system, because those people who have moved abroad, they have another status, refugees. IDPs, those people who stay on the territory of Ukraine. This is the first issue that we had, actually. Moreover, all these issues have been considered by coordination headquarters, headed by the Vice Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk, and all these issues have been discussed with NGOs, international foundations, to improve the system for those people who are in real need of those payments.
And tell me if I missed this in the first minute that I wasn't here. How many IDPs do you have now, and do you expect there to be a surge in the winter?
At the moment, generally, in the single information database, more than 226,000 people are registered. Those people who moved displaced on the 24th of April last year, 21st of February last year, it's almost 26,000 people, and we do not know about the surge during winter because those people who are now evacuated from the Kherson region, they stay with their families or relatives or friends. Other people, almost all the rest, they just move to other regions of Ukraine or abroad.
I wonder if last winter you had to make additional preparations in fear or in preparation for more people coming, and if you are thinking about the same thing for this winter.
Last winter, there was no significant surge of IDPs. And we can just if we take these accommodation centers, most people went to the west of Ukraine or abroad. What should we expect from this winter? It is very difficult to say now, but now in these compact centers, we still have places for accommodation of IDPs. Regional administrations provide information that we have almost 10,000 free places to accommodate IDPs in these compact settlement centers, and in private sector, this is houses or apartments. As for the accommodation centers, they can provide 3,000 places now, because generally in these accommodation centers there are only 800 persons, so not that much, not that many, not as many people. They opt for accommodation centers. Most people, they prefer to live individually.
Number of beds. In these accommodation centers, how long do people normally stay, and how long do you intend them to stay? As in, are they temporary or permanent?
There are no limitations to accommodate places, people in those centers. As of today, most people who stay there do this temporarily, just for 10 days. They can stay there, and then they find some apartments or houses they can rent those places, or move to their relatives, or go to other regions or abroad. And we have information for March, April. In those accommodation centers, there were around 1,000 places. So there have been no significant decrease, but people, they just don't like those accommodation centers.
Biggest challenge at the moment?
The biggest challenge for us now, and this is will be caused by payments because of the changes that we have introduced in our legislation. At the moment, we are working on the issue of creating IDP councils. This will be an advisory body as a part of regional administration. We're still working on the issue, and it is most likely that the one and the biggest challenge will be housing for IDPs. Communities should create the temporarily housing funds. They need to provide social housing, and it is needed not only for IDPs, but for locals as well. And also, the second challenge is employment, because not all IDPs are ready to leave their previous jobs, and also to change their professions in the territory of our region. And I think that this is not a problem for our region alone. Accommodation or housing and employment will always be a challenge for us.
Дякую.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for being with us today. That was the last briefing for today in our Media Center Ukraine Odessa. Please stay tuned for tomorrow and for the next week.